The morning Lady Eleanor Ashford decided to destroy her life. The sky above the Scottish Highlands looked like a bruise, dark, swollen, and heavy with silence. Inside Thornwick Manor, the walls held secrets and expectations. And Eleanor stood still, knowing something inside her was about to break. Another suitor had arrived, the fourth this month, a man with wealth, power, and a reputation whispered behind closed doors. But none of that mattered to Eleanor, because she had already seen the truth. This wasn't marriage, it was a transaction. She looked at herself in the mirror, and for a moment, she didn't recognize the girl staring back. Perfect posture, perfect dress, a perfect life. That didn't belong to her. The cracks weren't in the mirror, they were in her soul. At dinner, the men watched her closely, not with admiration but evaluation, like she was something to be measured, priced, owned. Eleanor smiled politely, while inside she was screaming. 5. That night, the manor fell silent. But silence didn't mean peace. It meant pressure, waiting suffocating. Eleanor walked alone through shadowed halls, past portraits of people who had never been free. In her father's study, dust lingered in the air like memory. Everything he left behind felt distant now. The warmth, the safety, the choice, all gone. And in that quiet room, Eleanor reached her breaking point. Her eyes burned, but no tears fell. She was past that, past fear, past doubt. All that remained was something sharper, something dangerous, a decision forming in silence. She stood there alone, feeling the weight of a life already decided for her, a future she never chose. And suddenly, she refused it. Her fingers tightened against the desk. Her breath slowed. This was madness. But it was also the first real choice she had ever made. And she wasn't going back. As dawn crept across the sky, Eleanor made her decision. She would destroy everything they expected her to be, and in doing so, she would finally become free. Before sunrise, she slipped out. No farewell, no hesitation. Just a quiet escape into the unknown. For the first time in her life, no one knew where she was going. The road stretched endlessly before her, cold, empty, unforgiving. Each step pulled her further away from everything she knew and closer to everything she feared. Her boots sank into frozen mud, not made for this world. But she kept walking, because turning back was no longer an option. The mountains loomed around her, silent witnesses to her rebellion. She had never felt so small or so alive. And then the village appeared. Simple, quiet, real, a place where names didn't matter. And for the first time, that felt like hope. The village square was just waking up, soft sounds of life replacing the silence of mountains. Eleanor stood still, unsure for the first time. Her plan had brought her here, but now she had no idea what to do next. Then she heard it, the sound of hooves breaking the quiet morning. A rider entered the square, his presence cutting to the calm like a shadow. Something about him felt different, heavy, like a story he didn't tell. He dismounted slowly, carefully, like even the ground wasn't something he fully trusted. His uniform was worn, his face tired. This was not a man untouched by life. This was a man who had survived it. Their eyes met, just for a moment, but it felt longer. There was something unspoken there, a recognition neither of them understood yet. Before fear could stop her, she stepped forward. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought he might hear it. "Are you married?" The question hung in the cold air, bold, strange, impossible to ignore. The man stared at her, confused, guarded. No one asked questions like that. Not here, not like this. And yet, she didn't back down, because she couldn't. He studied her carefully, the way she stood, the way she spoke. She wasn't what she claimed to be. Anyone could see that, and that made her even more dangerous. Eleanor spoke again, her voice steady, but her hands trembling beneath her cloak. She told him just enough truth, enough to make him understand that she was desperate. Silence followed. Then slowly he reached out his hand. Rough, scarred, real. When she took it, the world seemed to shift. Two strangers stood in the center of a quiet village, bound by nothing but a reckless decision. And somehow that was enough. The church was small, almost forgotten, stone walls, flickering candles, and a silence that felt sacred. No audience, no expectations, just a promise about to be made. Eleanor wore no jewels, no silk, no symbol of status, just a simple dress. And for the first time, she felt like herself. When he placed a ring on her finger, his hands didn't shake, but hers did, because in that moment, this stopped being a plan and became something real. They stepped outside into the cold daylight. The world hadn't changed, but everything felt different. She had lost everything she once was and gained something she couldn't yet name. Far away, a letter waited at the manor, words that would shatter expectations, ignite anger, and close a chapter forever. But Eleanor didn't look back. The cottage stood alone on a quiet hillside, small, weathered, imperfect, nothing like the life she had known, and yet it felt more honest than anything she left behind. Inside, there was no luxury, just warmth from a fire and the quiet presence of two people learning how to exist together. No roles, no rules, just space. Eleanor struggled at first. Simple things felt impossible. Cooking, cleaning, surviving. But every mistake felt strangely like progress. James worked without complaint, fixing the roof, mending what was broken, not just the house, but pieces of a life he had tried to forget. At night, they sat by the fire, words few, silence heavy. But it wasn't uncomfortable. It was waiting for something neither of them understood yet. Finally, she asked, "Where are you running from?" The question settled between them, quiet but impossible to escape. He hesitated. Then the truth slipped through. Not a soldier, not just a man, but something far more complicated. A duke, a title, a life he never wanted. Eleanor stared as everything she thought she knew collapsed. And then she laughed, not out of humor, but realization. Two people running from opposite worlds had somehow found each other. Spring came quietly. The cold faded, life returned. And in that small cottage, two broken paths became one. Not perfect, not planned, but finally free.